Hello everyone, I'm Tifun, and in the preceding sections of this course, I have explained how to configure an environment suitable for developing Android applications using Android integrated development environment. Now, before moving on to slightly more advanced topics, now it is good time to validate that all required development packages are installed and functioning correctly. The best way to achieve this goal is to create another Android application um, project and compile and run it. This section will cover creating an Android application project using Android Studio. Once the project is created, a later section will explore using Android emulator environment to perform a test run of the application. The project we will create in this section takes the form of a rudimentary currency conversion calculator. Now, so simple, in fact, that it only converts from dollars to euros, and it does so using an estimated conversion rate. Nothing takes internet or gives it, just an offline application. The project will also use one of the most basic Android Studio project templates. Now, this simplicity allows us to introduce some key aspects of Android application development without overwhelming the beginner by introducing too many concepts, such as the recommended application architecture, which you will learn later in this course, and Android architecture components and others as well. Now, when following the tutorial in this section, rest assured that the techniques and code used in this initial example project will be covered in much greater detail later in this course here. Now, the first step in the application development process is to create a new project within the Android Studio environment, of course. Now, we will begin by launching Android Studio so that we can see this welcome to Android Studio screen. Once the window appears here, Android Studio is ready for a new project to be created. Now, to create a new project, we'll click on the new project option to display the first screen of this new project wizard. Now, the next step here is we need to create an activity, right? So we will need to define a type of initial activity to be created for the application. Now, there's options available to create projects for like phone and tablets, VROS, automotive, televisions, and so on. Not so on, just we have 4 options. And now for this example, however, we will select the phone and tablet option from this templates panel, followed by the option to create an empty activity. This empty view activity here, as you can see here, empty view activity, game activity, this also includes C++, native C++, navigation driver. We will use all of that, don't worry. We will create all of these activities in this course, and we will edit this, configure this. We will also develop another like custom applications from zero with no activity as well. So don't worry. We will cover all of this in this course, in this long course. Now, for this example, as I said, we will use the phone and tablet option from the templates panel. Now, you can see this no empty view activity we have here, and empty activity. These are differs. So the empty views activity here, this option creates a template user interface consisting of just a single text view object. Don't worry, you will also learn what text view is. And we will click on next to continue with the project configuration. Now, we need to define some options here and specify what project is, what's software development kit. Now, in this project configuration window, we will set the name field to, let's say, auxiliary sample. Now, let's actually write it as sample example. Yeah, let's add x example, and here the application name is the is the name by which the application will be preferenced and identified within Android Studio, and is also the name that would be used if the completed application were to go on a scale in the Google Play Store. But don't worry, you can also change this while you write your program, so it is changeable. Everything in here is changeable, by the way. Now, this package name uniquely identifies the application within the Android application ecosystem. Although this can be set to any string that uniquely identifies your application, it is traditionally based on a reversed URL of your domain name followed by application's name. Now, for example, if your domain name is www.oxley.com and the application has been named like Android on the Oxley example, then the package name might be specified like com Oxley example, like this, because the Oxley example is our Android application name. And if you do not have a domain name, but by the way, this is not mandatory to buy some domains. Don't go there and buy it. This is just an under this is how Google Play and other marketing applications identifies your program. Yeah, and company in this company domain field, or you may use like com.example for testing. Those this will need to be changed before an application can be published in Google Play. And the save location you can see here. This is the this will default. This will use your Android Studio projects in your user folder by default. Yeah, home, or you can also call that home directory if you are coming from Linux. But in Windows, they also say that directory, yeah, or user directory more precisely. Yeah, you can also click on this small icon on the right, and you can also select your own specified directory. And in the here we also have minimum SD key and language. We can also select Java or Kotlin. Kotlin selected by default. Now we will also set the it's up to Android 14. So yeah, we can also set the API settings to 26 Oreo. Your application will run approximately on 95.4% of Android devices. This minimum SDK will be used in most projects creating this course unless a necessary feature is only available in most recent version. And yeah, the objective here is to build an application using the latest software development kit. SDK, by the way, here means software development kit. Yeah, while we can also retain compatibility with devices running older versions of Android, in this case as far back as Android 8.0. But if we select this API 16, this will say that your application will run approximately on 100% of devices. But if we say it's set to the latest version, this is good for the updates and reliability uses. But if you select that, you can see that your application will run approximately in 13% of the devices. So if our application will run it at the less margin, so what's the point of developing it, right? We want our application to be installed and working in all of the user phones here. And yeah, that's why we will select Android 8 or API Software Development Kit 26 here. And yeah, we also have boot configuration. Now, the text here beneath this minimum SDK setting will outline, and you can also set the help me choose button. Now you can see this full breakdown of the various Android versions that is still in use. Now you can finally change the language and select Kotlin as the build configuration language before clicking finish to create project. And yeah, click on finish. It might take some time depending on your system's performance. In this case, I have 64 gigabytes of RAM and AMD 7950X3D. Yeah, that's. And yeah, here, let's hit run here. And yeah, I will stop this video right here. I will do nothing and come back to you as this importing will be done. This might take some minute or two. And yeah, that's it. Our newly project is created and compiled. And you can see this, the references and associated files are listed in a project tool window on the left side of the main project window. The project tool window has several modes in which information can be displayed. Now, by default, this panel should be in Android mode. The setting is controlled by the menu at the top of the panel. And if the panel is not currently in Android mode, you can use the menu to switch the mode. And the user interface design for our activity is stored in a file named activitymain.xml, which in turn is located under the application res layout, and here activitymain.xml. Now we will double click on it and load it into the user interface layout editor tool, which will appear in the center panel of the Android Studio main window. And in this toolbar across the top of the layout editor window is a menu, which is currently set to pixel, which is reflected in the visual representation of the device within the layout editor panel. A range of other devices options are also available by clicking on this menu. You can select a wide range of phones like pixels, tablets, and desktops, and so on. And you can also use this system UI mode. This is the something this moon icon. To turn mode on, to turn the night mode on and off for the device screen layout. Now, to change the orientation of the device representation between the landscape and portrait, you can click on this icon and click on landscape, and here we are. This is the landscape orientation. And as we can see in the device screen, the content layout already includes a label that displays this hello world message. Running down the left hand components may be used to construct a user interface such as buttons, labels, text, widgets, layouts, containers, helpers, Google, legacy, and so on. And yeah, and however, it should be keep in mind that not all user interface components are visible to the user. One such category consists of layouts. Android supports a variety of layouts that provide different levels of control over how visual user interface components are positioned and managed on the screen. Though it is difficult to tell from looking at the visual representation of the user interface, the current design has been created using this constraint layout. Yes, actually, find it. Yeah, this design has been created with this constraint layout, which by default is located in the lower hand corner of the layout editor panel. And as we can see from our component tree hierarchy, the user interface layout consists of text view and constraint layout parent called main. Now, before proceeding, you check that layout editor's auto connect mode is enabled. You can see it's enabled. Um, this means that the components are added to the layout. Is the layout editor will automatically add constraints to ensure components are correctly positioned for different screen sizes and device orientations. This is the topic that we will cover in next lectures more deeply. The AutoConnect button appears in the Layout Editor toolbar and is represented by this U-shaped icon. Now, when disabled, the icon here appears with a diagonal line through this, and if necessary, enable AutoConnect mode by clicking on this button again. The next step in modifying the application is to add some additional components to the layout. The first of which will be button for the user. Now the palette consists of two columns, as you can see here. The left hand column containing a list of Weave component categories, and the right hand column lists the components contained within the currently selected category. Now if we go to common, and here we have the button view. Now for example, let's select this button view, and the button view is currently selected within this buttons category as well. Now we will click and drag the button object from the buttons list and drop it in the horizontal center of the user interface design, so it is positioned beneath the existing text view widget. Now you can see AutoConnect was on, so it added two constraints. You will learn more about constraints in next lectures, don't worry. But yeah, let's actually use on design. Yeah. And the next step here is to change the text currently displayed on this button component. The panel located on the right of the design area is the attributes panel, as noted here. This panel displays the attributes assigned to a currently selected component in the layout. So within this panel, you need to locate the text. This is the property in this common attributes or declared attributes section, and we will need to change the current value from button to convert. And here we are. The second text property you can see here with a wrench next to it here allows allows a text property to be set. Yeah, this is useful for testing how visual components and the layout will behave with different settings. And yeah, this is pretty much it. And just in case the AutoConnect system failed to set up all of the layout connections, like in our case, it doesn't set up top and bottom. We will add any missing constraints with this infer constraints button, and you can see it added constraints automatically. Hello everyone, I'm Typhoon and welcome to another awesome lecture of Android application development. So we will start with Android Studio. While it is tempting to plunge into running the example application created in our previous lectures, it involves using aspects of Android Studio user interface, which are best described in this course. So Android Studio is a powerful and feature-rich development environment that is to a large extent intuitive to use. Now, that being said, asking the time now to gain familiarity with the layout and organization of the Android Studio user interface will shorten the learning curve in later sections of this course. Now, with this in mind, this section mainly will provide an overview of the various areas and components and settings and all other interfaces of Android Studio development environment. Now, in the welcome screen displayed here, this displayed any time that Android Studio is running with no projects. Sorry, with no projects currently open. Now, open projects like this can be closed at any time by selecting this File, Close Projects menu option, and terminate, and that's it. So if Android Studio was previously exited while a project was still open, the tool will bypass the welcome screen next time it is launched here. So if we exit like this, so we will bypass this welcome screen as you saw here. It will automatically open the previously active project. Now, in addition to a list of recent projects, the welcome screen provides options for performing tasks such as opening and creating projects here, along with the access to projects currently under the version control. In addition, the customized screen here you can see provides options to change the theme and font, and you can also set other settings used by both the IDE and IDE is integrated development environment and the editor. Now, Android Studio plugins may be viewed, installed, and managed using this plugins options. You can see here. And additional options are available by selecting this more or this about settings and learn here. In Android Studio welcome screen here. And we also have this menu bar when we start a project. Now, the Android Studio main window will appear when a new project is created or an existing one is opened here. So when multiple projects are open simultaneously, each will be assigned to its own main window. The precise configuration of the window will vary depending on the operating system Android Studio is running on and which tools and panels are were displayed the last time the project was open. And as you can see, it is importing the Gradle project now, so it may take some time depending on the project scaling when you first start here. Now Android Studio is running on, and you can see it is importing some project. It may take about minute or 30 seconds depending on your performance of your system. Now when Android Studio running on Windows or Linux, the main menu is accessed with this button you can see here. Yeah, this is the main menu of ours. Now you can see once the project is open, the Android Studio will typically resemble something like this. Now we have the toolbar here. This is the toolbar. This is a selection of shortcuts to frequently performed actions like search, settings, the build or make module. Now this toolbar buttons provide quick access to a select group of menu bar actions. The toolbar can be customized by right-clicking on the bar and selecting this Customize Toolbar menu option. And the toolbar menu can be selected here. And then we have this navigation bar. So let's open other things from the resources so I can better show how this navigation bar works. Yeah, we have the navigation bar at this here. The navigation bar provides a convenient way to move around the files and folders that make up the project. Now clicking on an element in the navigation bar like this will uh, drop down a menu listing in a subfolders and files at this location. Now similarly, clicking on a class name, if we open this Kotlin, you can see now clicking on a class name will display a listing methods contained within that class. Now you can select the method from the list to be taken like this. So you can see we have the greeting. Now you can select this to be taken to corresponding location within the editor. Like you can see greeting preview, greeting, and yeah, that's the function will appear here. And yeah, we have also this editor window. The editor window displays the content of the file on which the developer is currently are open like this. Each file represented by a tab located along the top edge of the editor, as you can see here. Hello, my name is Typhoon, and in this lecture, and actually this lecture is gonna be like 4 or 5 to explain the Android Studio code editor. Developing applications for Android involves a considerable amount of programming work, which, by definition, involves typing, rewriting, and modifying lines of code. It should come as no surprise that the majority of developers' time spent using Android Studio will typically involve editing code with the editor window. As you can see here, this is the editor window of Android Studio. The modern code editor needs to go far beyond the original basics of typing, deleting, cutting, and pasting. So today, the usefulness of a code editor is generally gauged by factors such as amount of by which it reduces the typing required by the programmer, ease of navigation through a large source code file, and the editor's ability to detect and highlight programming errors in real time as the code is being written. As will become evident in this chapter, these are just a few of the areas in which the Android Studio editor excels. So while not an exhaustive overview of features of the Android editor, this lecture aims to provide a quite to key features of the tool. So experienced programmers will find that some of these features are common to most code editors available today, while number of are unique and to this particular editing environment. So here the Android Studio editor appears in the center of the main window here, as you can see here. When a Java, Kotlin, or XML or the other text-based files is selected for editing. For example, this shows a typical editor session with Kotlin source code file loaded. Here, firstly, we have the document tabs here. These document tabs, Android Studio is capable of holding multiple files open for editing at any one time. So each file is opened, it will assign to a document tab displaying the file name in the bar located along the top edge of the window. So a small drop-down menu will appear in the far right hand corner of the tab when there is an insufficient room to display all of the tabs. Let's actually test this. Open the XML files, another WebP here, and as you can see here, these are the drop-down files that the Kotlin wants to see all of this. So switching between files is simply a matter of clicking on the responding tab using the Alt plus left and right keyboard shortcuts. So navigation between files may also be performed using the switcher mechanism, accessible, for example, via GTRL tab here, control tab, like this. And you can also use the rule keys to like select this and go at the end of the switcher. So we also have the editor getter area. The editor getter area, actually, let me go to code editor and show you what is editor getter area. This is the editor getter area here. So this area, the getter area, is used by the editor to display informational icons and controls. So some typical items among others which appear in this getter area are debugging, breakpoint markers like this, controls to fold and unfold the code, bookmarks, like here, as you can add a bookmark with F11. This is a shortcut here. Go to the line of code and press F11 and you're gonna have bookmarked of this code here. So line numbers are switched on by default, may be disabled by right clicking in the getter and unclicking the show line numbers. As you can see, we are not seeing line numbers here, and as you can see here, we also can hide the intent queries, which these actually are the helpful features of Android Studio, so we're gonna keep this that way. We also have the code structure location here. So the bar at the bottom of the editor displays the current position of the cursor here, as you can see here. So this displays the current position of the cursor as it relates to the overall structure of the code. In this here, for example, the bar indicates that our main activity onCreate function method is currently being edited, and that is the method is contained within the main activity class. Oops, actually, sorry, this is the main activity class. As you can see, this means we are now editing onCreate. And let's actually go to another class, and as you can see here, now we are editing class initializer, which you will learn more about them later in this course. So we also have editor area, which actually it's just an editor area, though this is the main area where the code is displayed, entered, and edited by the user. So later sections of this lecture will cover the key features of the editing area in detail. We also have the which is we just had two topics to explain. First is the validation and marker sidebar. So Android Studio incorporates a feature referred to as on-the-fly code analysis, which what this essentially means is that when you're typing code, for example, let's add something meaningless here, and as you can see, we got the read here. So this is the on-the-fly code analysis. So with this essentiality, it means that as you are typing the code, the editor is analyzing the code to check for warnings and syntax errors, as you can see here. So the indicators at the top of the validation bar will show the real time to indicate how many errors and warnings found as code is added, as you can see here. So clicking on this indicator will display a pop-up, as you can see here, and containing a summary of the issues found within the code in the editor, as you can see here. And lastly, we have the status bar, and it's also worth noting that the Lens overlay is not limited to warnings and errors in the sidebar. Hovering over any part of the sidebar will result in a lens appearing here and containing the code present at the location within the source file. And lastly, we have the status bar. So that the status bar is actually part of the main window. So as you can see here, there's in the main window as opposed to editor. So it does contain some information about the currently active editing session. This information includes the current position of the cursor, as you can see here. In this case here 18. As you can see, these are the current position of the cursor, date and time, spaces and characters. So having provided in this lecture we had provided an overview of the elements that comprise the Android Studio editor. The remainder of this lecture will explore the key feature of the editing environment in more detail. My name is Typhoon and I'm waiting you in next lecture. By default, the editor will display a single panel showing the content of the currently selected file. Particularly, the user editor into multiple panels. So right click on the file tab like this and within the editor window and select either the split vertically, split right, or split down. In this case, I'm going to select the split right. And as you can see here, now we have two codes and windows. So the orientation of the split panel may be changed at any time by right-clicking on the corresponding tab and selecting the Change Splinter Orientation menu option like this. We can also add the three tabs with this option. So with splitting may be used to display different files or to provide multiple windows on the same file, allowing the different areas of the same file to be viewed and editing concurrently. So I'm actually gonna close these tabs, and actually I want to talk about something that is the best feature of Android Studio, and actually it's pretty clever here. So code compilation in Android Studio. The Android Studio editor has a considerable amount of built-in knowledge of Kotlin programming syntax and the classes and the methods that make up Android SDK. So as well as knowledge of your own code base. As code is typed, the editor scans what is being typed and where appropriate makes suggestions with regard to what might be needed to complete a statement or reference. So when a completion suggestion is detected by the editor, a panel will appear like this. For example, layout dot, as you can see, we got several options here, but in this case I'm gonna use the activity main, or we can select like this, online course, and for example Java course dot course topic, and like these are the code completion here. So if none of the auto completion suggestions are correct, simply keep typing and the editor will continue to refine the suggestions where appropriate. So to accept the top main suggestion, simply press the enter or tab key here, enter or tab key on the keyboard to select the different suggestions like this. For example, course, you just use the arrow keys to move up and down on the list. Once again, using the enter or tab key to select the highlighted item. So completion suggestions can be manually invoked using the control plus space like this. So this can be useful when changing a word or declaration in the editor. So when a cursor is positioned over a word in the editor, that word will automatically highlight. So pressing Ctrl plus space will display a list of alternative suggestions. So to replace the current word with the currently highlighted item in the suggestion list, simply press Tab key. In addition to the real-time auto-completion feature, the Android Studio Editor also offers a system referred to as Smart Completion. Smart Completion is invoked using the Shift, Control, and Space keyword sequence, and when selected here, will provide more detailed suggestions based on the current context of the code. So pressing Shift, Control, and Space shortcut sequence like this a second time will provide more suggestions from wider range of possibilities like this, as you can see here. So code completion can be a matter of a personal preference for many programmers. In recognition of this fact, Android Studio provides a high level of control over the auto-completion settings. So this can be viewed and modified by selecting the File, Settings, and here as you can see, File Settings, and here we need to select the code completion. It should be somewhere here, not in appearance. Editor general, and here code completion, and you can edit these code completions by your own preference. In Kotlin, we also have the statement completion. So another form of auto-completion provided by the Android Studio Editor is a statement completion. So this can be used to automatically fill out the parentheses and braces for items such as methods and loop statements. So statement completion is invoked using the Shift, Control, and Enter like this, or if you are using macOS, then Shift, Command, Enter on macOS here. So consider, for example, let's write the new function, which you will learn more about writing functions here. My function here, and having the type this code into the editor, triggering statement will cause the editor to automatically add the braces to the method. So as I said, Shift, Control, and Enter, and as you can see here, we are automatically added braces to the method. We also have parameter information in Kotlin, so it is also possible to ask editor to provide information about the argument parameters accepted by the method. With the cursor positioned between the braces of the method call like this, let's actually create a new variable var Kotlin course and online course here. With this, writing the Control and P here keyboard sequence will display the parameters known to be accepted by that method, with the most likely suggestion highlighted in the bold, as you can see here. So we also have parameter name hints in Kotlin Android Studio. So the code editor may be configured to display parameter name hints within method calls. So for example, in this case, as you can see here, we don't need it anymore. So you can edit this parameter word hints with settings, editor, general, and preferences, auto import, appearance, breadcrumbs, code completion, and you can edit these parameters from code compilations, as you can see here, by your own preference. So I will use the default settings for this, for understanding of every students. So we also have, lastly, in this lecture, which we're going to talk about, is code generation in Kotlin. So in addition to completing the code as it is typed to the editor, can under certain conditions, for example, can used with alt and insert like this. Go to main menu here. So, or you can actually trigger it from the code and click on generate, or you can just use the shortcut here. As you can see, we can generate some methods or override some methods here. So for the purposes of example, consider a situation where we want to be notified when an activity in our project is about to be destroyed by the operating system. As outlined in later lectures of this book, this can be achieved by overriding the onStop lifecycle method of the activity superclass. So we're gonna use code generate, and here we're gonna use the override methods. Here, click on this, and as you can see, we have like bunch of methods to override here. So to have Android Studio generate a stub method for this, simply select override methods and options from the code generation list and select the onStop. You can actually search it with just writing text on stop, and yes, see what we have. As you can see, this I don't think this, yes, this belongs to app compact activity, and as you can see, we implemented and overridden the onStop method here.